Forget everything you think you know about educational inequality in South Africa. We are tearing down a massive, absolute myth today in this explainer. Everyone thinks they know the exact cause. Everyone thinks they know the perfect solution. Well, they're wrong. The data we're looking at today tells a totally shocking story. Let's get right into it.
So it's been decades since the end of apartheid, yet university demographics remain completely skewed. Why are South African universities still overwhelmingly white? It's a really uncomfortable question. And the standard answer you hear literally every single day, it is completely, totally wrong.
36%. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the massive gap in university enrollment right now between white and African students. It's staggering. It's a heartbreaking divide. It represents lost potential on an absolute epic scale. But why is it actually happening?
Take a look at this raw data. It reveals a seriously harsh reality. Among 25 to 29-year-olds, over 18% of white South Africans hold a university degree. But for African students, it's a devastating 1.5%. That's not just a gap, you know. That is a full-blown chasm.
Now, ask anyone on the street, and they'll give you the common sense answer. They'll say it's the money. South Africa has extreme poverty. Universities charge massive tuition fees, so poor students just can't afford to go. Poverty plus high tuition equals the racial gap. It is accepted as absolute gospel truth, but the data is about to completely shatter this idea.
To actually test this, researchers did something incredible. They didn't just take a quick snapshot. No, they tracked nearly 5,000 teenagers in Cape Town over several years. It was this massive, rigorous effort. First, track them. Second, test their foundational reading and math skills early on. And third, see who actually makes it to university. Simple approach, but incredibly revealing. And this brilliantly shows where the cracks actually first appear. Long before a university application is ever even printed out, the system is already failing. Just look at the grade 12 pass rates. 94% for white students, but only 74% for African students. The system is literally filtering kids out years before college is even a question.
Okay, are you ready for the plot twist? Get ready for a massive slap in the face to everything we thought we knew. It is not the money. The lack of household wealth is actually not the primary reason these students are being kept out of university. I know, it sounds crazy. Let me prove it to you. The study reveals something absolutely wild. When researchers accounted for high school academic performance, the impact of household income dropped to almost zero. Zero. Think about what that actually means. If an African student gets the exact same grades in high school as a white student, their family's bank account barely matters for university enrollment. The whole money excuse completely vanishes.
So how do we prove this beyond a shadow of a doubt? Well, we play God with the data. We set up a massive what-if simulation to see what actually moves the needle here. What if we magically gave every single African student the exact same wealth as the richest 10% of white families? Boom, sudden, massive wealth. Do they all suddenly go to university? Actually, no. Enrollment only bumps from 13% to about 20.6%. Pouring endless money onto the problem does not fix the massive racial gap.
But what if we try a completely different kind of magic? Instead of handing out cash, what if we magically gave them equal high school test scores? What if we completely erase that early education gap? The result is mind-blowing. The racial enrollment gap completely vanishes. Just like that. Gone. Completely erased.
This right here is the absolute core of our explainer today. In reality, white enrollment heavily dominates. If we give everyone top-tier wealth, the gap still completely persists. But if we equalize high school test scores, African enrollment skyrockets to 53.4%. It actually overtakes white enrollment. True academic equality completely flips the script.
Let's pause for a second. Equal scores mean higher African enrollment? That is incredibly counterintuitive, right? Why on earth does this happen? Well, the data suggests it's pure, unmeasured drive. These students have already overcome immense early disadvantages. If they can just hit those high academic scores against all odds, their motivation to push into university is utterly unstoppable.
Now, let's be really clear here. We are not dismissing poverty entirely. There is a catch. Money absolutely still matters, but just not where everyone is looking. It matters immensely for trade schools and vocational training.
For non-university diplomas, we're talking specific technical training or short-term certificates, household cash is still a massive, massive barrier. Why? Because these highly practical programs often completely lack the generous government financial aid that traditional universities get. So for trade skills, empty pockets literally still lock students out. So we need to shift our entire perspective right now. The fight for educational equality is absolutely not happening at the university admissions office. It's not happening at the financial aid desk. The real battlefield? It's high school.
Let's rapidly break down these hard truths. University tuition? It's a secondary symptom of a much, much deeper disease. High school quality absolutely dictates the future. You can throw all the financial aid in the world at an 18-year-old, and it will absolutely not fix a decade of early educational inequality. You simply cannot buy your way out of a broken foundation.
Which leaves us with one incredibly provocative question. Are we throwing our money, our policies, and our collective outrage at the completely wrong end of the education system? If we really want to fix inequality, maybe we need to stop staring at university gates and start fighting for the primary school classrooms. Think about that for a while. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope this completely changed how you see the issue.